Hollywood produced some of the most iconic comedians of the last few decades, or at least that's what it looks like, because when you start looking closer, you notice something interesting. A huge number of the performers who shaped modern comedy actually started outside of the US. They came from the same country, the same comedy scene, and often the same training ground. Today we are looking at 7 legendary performers who helped define how the world laughs, and their Canadian roots that most people never notice. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. More of your favorite performers came from Canada than you ever knew, and we have a lot more to get through. Let's get into it. Jim Carrey, The Mask, Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, all #1 at the box office. Jim Carrey invented a kind of physical comedy that had no precedent. Elastic expressions, total physical commitment, and performances pushed to ridiculous extremes. Well, believe it or not, that style was built in Toronto.
You know, I used to get really upset when I told people where I came from down in Los Angeles because I always got the same response. Canada? Wow. Must have been cold. Now I just go along with them.
Yes, Canada. It was a frozen, hostile wasteland.
He was born in Newmarket, Ontario. His family hit a financial wall when he was a teenager. His dad drove him downtown to Yuck Yuck's Comedy Club at 15 for his first stand-up set.
And I had a white polyester suit on, my mom put on me. I went down there with Dad and got up on stage, and I was doing all right, really, but the owner of the club got on the mic backstage and started going, "Totally boring," and all of a sudden it wasn't hip enough for them. So I was pretty shattered, and I didn't go back for 2 years.
He worked the Toronto club circuit for years, building the fearless physical style that Canadian stand-up culture encouraged. He moved to LA at 19, and in 1990, he joined In Living Color as the only white member of the original cast. I had never created characters before that show. It was a whole new process to me, and those guys, that incredible cast, were on their feet, never doing the same take twice. It was really just like Second City training. The Ace Ventura script was written in his office at night during the final season. 3 #1 films 12 months later, and through all of it, he held on to where he came from. My upbringing in Canada made me the person I am. I will always be proud to be a Canadian. Physical comedy, total chaos. Next up, the opposite of all that. 1 chair, 1 microphone, and the most dangerous silence in television history. Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald is one of the most studied comedians, alive or dead. David Letterman called him the best stand-up in the world. Conan O'Brien said he had the most unique comedic voice he had ever encountered. He was born in Quebec City and raised in Ottawa. Much like Jim Carrey, he started performing at Yuck Yuck's in Ottawa in 1985.
So what is it about Canada that produces all these comedians? What do you think it is?
I don't know, because when I'm in Canada, no one's funny.
Later in his career, he explained what made the Canadian stand-up scene different. I think the stand-ups are generally much better in Canada, because like when I was in Canada, none of us had any ambition to do movies or TV because there were no movies or television. So it was all stand-up, and we just assumed we'd be stand-ups for our whole lives, and that was what was fun. That philosophy produced Weekend Update at Saturday Night Live. Macdonald became the anchor in 1994 and turned it into the most subversive 4 minutes in late-night television. His deadpan delivery confused network executives but delighted audiences who understood the joke. Norm would stare down the crowd and let the silence hang. For him, the joke always came first. NBC executive Don Ohlmeyer even pressured the show to remove him from Weekend Update in 1997. Macdonald's response summarized his entire approach. "I think the whole show was tired of me not taking marching orders." Ottawa's dry humor and its instinct to commit to the bit, regardless of the room, became his weapon, and he never traded it for approval.
Man, I don't know about you, but these dogs are getting kind of expensive, aren't they? The hell's going on with the price of dogs? I mean, what's the deal there with the dogs?
Norm made a career out of saying less. The next person on this list built one by doing more. Rachel McAdams, The Notebook, Mean Girls, Doctor Strange, Spotlight, True Detective, Broadway. Rachel McAdams has one of the widest ranges in Hollywood.
It's like a dream.
Mother!
Most audiences see a classic romantic lead, but in reality, she is a classically trained theater actress who built her craft in Canada long before Hollywood saw her. She grew up in St. Thomas, just outside London, Ontario, where she started doing Shakespeare at a children's theater company at 12. She trained for 4 years at York University's theater program in Toronto and spent years on the Canadian stage circuit. Growing up in tiny little St. Thomas, Canada, I wrote my parents a very desperate letter asking them to figure out how to fulfill my greatest dream, to be on Ed McMahon's Star Search. What all those experiences and all of these people made me realize is I didn't actually need to be a star. What I needed to be was a working actor. Canadian drama training gave her something the industry rarely produces on its own: range grounded in technique. Regina George and Allie Hamilton in the same year read as two entirely different people. That comes from years of stage work, not from Hollywood coaching. At the peak of her early fame, she stepped back from Hollywood and chose to figure things out on her own terms.
I think I was just kind of reassessing, what kind of career I would hope to have and what kind of parts I wanted to do, and so just start, I guess, just trying to take a minute, because it's like a current, and fast. People want you to do certain roles or continue down a certain path, and I sort of wanted to explore other avenues. So
she still lives in Toronto, the range that keeps her in demand across every genre, from Marvel to prestige drama to Broadway, was built in Canada. Which of these has surprised you the most so far? Tell us in the comments. We want to know. This next one created some of the most recognizable characters in comedy history and did it entirely in Canada first. Martin Short. Martin Short is a comedy legend known for his outrageous characters: Ed Grimley, Jiminy Glick, his year on SNL, Three Amigos with Steve Martin and Chevy Chase, and that's naming only a few. He grew up in Hamilton, Ontario, and was actually pushed toward acting by a classmate. He gave himself 1 year in Toronto to try it. That year became 7 years of building a career entirely in Canada before American television noticed him. When I started off in 1972 as an actor in Toronto, for 7 years, my career was only in Toronto. That paved the way of how I wanted to do it. I wanted to do all mediums at the same time and just keep it interesting. Toronto's Second City Comedy Troupe was where he created Ed Grimley. He has been very grateful for what Canada's improv scene gave him. Second City on stage liberated me to know that I could improvise. He has also been direct about what made the Canadian comedy sensibility different from anything being built in the US at the time.
I think Canada is a very nurturing and intrigued country by eccentric, odd behavior. And I think that they celebrate it, and you feel more comfortable and nurtured here. And some of the great characters of all the last 30 years and character actors have come from Canada.
That broader intake produced something genuinely new. Canada's improv scene shaped iconic characters that neither pure American nor pure British comedy could have created. Hamilton, Ontario raised someone who absorbed everything and then committed completely. Up next, what do you get when you take a kid from Ottawa, put him in a blues club, and then hand him a sketch writing job? Apparently, you get the blueprint for modern American comedy. Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd is one of the architects of modern sketch comedy, co-creator of Ghostbusters, original SNL star, Emmy award-winning writer, The Blues Brothers, Coneheads. Basically the template for how sketch characters become film franchises. Born in Ottawa on Canada Day, July 1st, 1952, he spent his teenage years at a blues club called Le Hibou, watching Muddy Waters and Buddy Guy, absorbing a musical obsession that later became the Blues Brothers. He had a clear sense of what Ottawa's particular culture gave him. Had I lived in a different town, I don't think that this would have happened, because it was just the confluence of educated government workers and all the colleges in the area. These people were interested in blues culture. He joined Second City in Toronto in 1973 and eventually went on to Second City Chicago.
Of course, it always helps to work with Second City people because they're fully schooled in the techniques.
His Canadian satire directly shaped what SNL became. Aykroyd was hired as a writer first, whose political satire, powered by precise impersonations of Nixon and Carter, established the show's voice. When Aykroyd arrived, he brought the entire Canadian network with him. We all knew each other. Gilda and Billy and Brian and I all worked together up in Canada. Lorne just had to look around for other talent and finally grab the people he knew were ripe and ready to do it,
Dan Aykroyd.
Hello, Dan. Hi.
Hi, Dan.
Jane Curtin.
Jane.
It's Garrett Morris.
What's happening?
Gilda Radner.
Gilda.
John Belushi. And
Lorraine Newman.
Lorraine.
All of it traces back to Ottawa and a kid who grew up around blues music and government workers who took culture seriously. Canada gave SNL its DNA and laid the foundation of how sketch comedy became cinema. And above it all, Aykroyd is a proud, outspoken Canadian.
Thinking before we speak, having love in our hearts, and kind of spreading that around and being more considerate of other people and being more tolerant of those who are different. Canada certainly espouses those values, and I'm proud to export them wherever I go.
You already heard one Hamilton story tonight. Here's another one. Eugene Levy. Eugene Levy is also from Hamilton, Ontario. He and Martin Short went to the same university.
You know, my dearest and oldest friend, Marty Short.
Of course.
We're both from the same town, Hamilton, Ontario. We both started our careers in the same show, Godspell 1972 in Toronto.
From the production of Godspell to Second City, then SCTV, then the Christopher Guest mockumentaries, American Pie and Schitt's Creek. That career arc spans 5 decades, and it traces directly back to one specific insight from the Canadian ensemble tradition. Fortunately for me, these 2 major productions, Godspell coming in from New York and Second City coming in from Chicago, were great things to get into, especially Second City. In the world of comedy, that was the best schooling you could have had. If you thought you were funny before, forget it. Canadian ensemble comedy shaped his collaborative style in the most specific way. He carried Second City's ground rules throughout a career spanning 6 decades. The ground rules we learned in Second City were the kind you carry with you throughout your career. Rules like always work at the top of your intelligence level. Never think you're smarter than your audience. There was no better education in the world when it came to that kind of comedy. At 73, he co-created Schitt's Creek with his son. 9 Emmys. The whole cast swept comedy, a first in television history. His legacy was even recognized with his appointment to the Order of Canada.
So I was very, very proud to be a Canadian that day. That was a pretty unbelievable day, getting the Order of Canada.
Now let's close this out with a person you've seen in some of the biggest films and shows of the last 40 years. Did you ever stop to wonder where he actually came from? Victor Garber. You know Victor Garber from Titanic, Alias, or Broadway. He has 4 Tony nominations, 6 Emmy nominations, and a career spanning 7 decades. You probably assumed he is British or American. Well, surprise. All the rigorous training and the range in his work comes from London, Ontario. He enrolled in the Grand Theatre's children's program at 9 years old. I'm in London, Ontario right now, celebrating those early years at the Grand Theatre, which is very resonant and emotional for me because everything started here. Everything. At 16, he entered a summer training program at the University of Toronto's Hart House, and in 1972, he played Jesus in the Toronto production of Godspell alongside Martin Short.
I mean, all those people came from that one production in Toronto. It just seems sort of unlikely.
That single production launched more careers than most drama schools ever produce.
I can't believe I was a part of it. I think, oh, right, I was a part of that.
It's magic. There's no explanation for it, other than it was serendipity. We don't know how it happens, or why it happens. It was lightning in a bottle. It was clear to everyone that we were all in sync. It was undeniable. That's what Canada produces, actors who last. So there you have it, 7 comedy legends, 7 careers that reshape the way the world laughs. Just goes to show that you've been watching Canadian comedy your whole life. You just didn't know it. And the next time someone says Hollywood invented modern comedy, you know what to say. Let us know which one surprised you the most in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started.